You very kindly wrote to me after a question I asked the Mayor around these reports and when they were being issued. And in terms of transparency, and everybody wants transparent data. My concern was if we just left things to the 6 months report, it would fall into that pre-election period, which means that reports wouldn't be allowed to be published until after the mayoral election in May. And I think we'd all want to avoid that because we would want to see the data that was available. I tried to be helpful and say, we could do what we did previously, which is do a 4 month report. But you've written to me to say you're not going to do that.
I think it's important that we have consistency in terms of the data that we measure progress on. I mean, we obviously know about the compliance rates. We know that the compliance rates are incredibly high, that we've seen a 10% increase in compliance in Outer London just since the launch of the expansion. We now have 96.4% of cars driven across London being compliant with ULEZ. So those figures are obviously immediate and very encouraging. But I think it's right that we have the same staged approach to air quality monitoring. Now, I don't think it's necessarily going to be during the pre-election period, but I could be wrong. But I think we might have some figures before, but I don't know at this stage. But I think it's right that we have the measure like for like, rather than comparing different indices at different times.
That makes perfect sense. So what was the thinking of changing those indices between the 2019 report and the 2021 report then? Because the 2019 report, which was for Central London, did have a 4 month report. I've got it in front of me.
I wasn't aware of that.
1, 4, 6 and 10.
I wasn't aware of that.
That was 2019. Then 2021, 2 years later, it did 1, 6 and 12 months.
I was under the impression...
It completely changed between...
Sure, no, I accept what you're saying. I'll have to go back and ask, because my understanding was there was a 1 month on report and a 6 month on report, and that was always the way. So
all of the reporting so far has been different. So, I mean, could we look at... I mean, I'd be absolutely happy to accept, your guarantee that we'll have those 6 months figures before the pre-election period, presuming there's no other elections that come up in between, and who knows. But if we can have your absolute assurance that is possible, if not, could we not look at doing a 5 month report?
I will certainly ask, but I have been given very good reasons as to why we have the staging that we have. But
because it needs to stay the same.
No, but I have to look into that. I accept the argument you're making, and we'll have to get back to you on that. If indeed it has been changed, then I'll have to look at why we can't do a 4 or 5 month report.
ULEZ monitoring report, Central London 2019, 1st month report, 4 month report, 6 month report, 10 month report. 2 years later, Inner London, 1st month report, 6 month report, 1 year report. And then we've got the 1st month report for 2023.
Sure, it's a good point. I don't know whether the metrics are different in the 4 5 month report as opposed to the ones that you're reviewing.
I can imagine so, because Outer London is very different from Inner London.
But I will certainly, that's an anomaly well spotted that I will follow up on.